And considering how game number 1 ended up unfolding for Elevate, what would you like to see them try and do in order to find their way back into the set?
Just get the early pressure, right? Because if you let myflin get it off, there's no stopping Obey Alliance. Once they had about a 4,000 goal lead, there was no stopping Obey Alliance. If you're going to run a Chronos and a Raw, that's screaming mid to late game, and you're giving up too much momentum in the early stages for Obey to build upon. So you're basically sacrificing your early game, and the comeback potential wasn't truly available for Elevate against this Odin pick that's going to lock in so many members.
And the interesting aspect, though, is that Delta Marine was actually pretty targeted by Elevate. They were able to find a couple of early picks onto him from the start of the match, just unfortunately unable to keep that Zeus locked down. And when you have a Zeus, Odin, and Hui ultimate all falling into the same place, that just spells disaster.
Just too much damage spread out all across the board against Elevate. The raw heal was not a factor to mitigate most of it, and that's why they're down 0-1 heading into this game 2 picks and bans.
And immediately, Odin Awilish, not this time, already taken away from the side of Obey. And I mean, I respect the decision here by Elevate to just eliminate one of myflin's favorite gods and just a very strong god in the hands of Obey Alliance.
So by losing the last game, they go for the first pick. They leave both Susanoo and the Cabrakan open. Obey Alliance, though, banning away the Susanoo, leaving open the Cabrakan. I would almost like to see them leave both of those gods open, so that way whenever Elevate gets one, we're going to see Obey Alliance pick up the other.
I'm almost certain, though, that if Susanoo makes it through the initial banning phase, that whichever team has first pick will opt to select him every single time. There's just too much utility, too much early pressure, and the setup factor that Susanoo can provide so early on and throughout the duration of a game, that's just way too much of a nuisance for any team.
He gets in and he gets out. He does his damage in between, right? The Storm Kata just does so much damage that it even forces out Aegis Amulets. Once you have the Hydra's Lament, once you have the Heartseeker, the damage from that one ability makes it such a nuisance for any mid-mage that you lock in.
And Elevate sat long and hard on that one, trying to figure out whether or not the Cabrakan would be their first choice, but they have decided to go forward with it. And Tolly, what do you think that they're trying to pair this with?
Right now, it's about what Obey Alliance lock in before they really figure out what will work well with a Cabrakan and whether or not that's going to go in the jungle, solo, or the Guardian role, which is what makes Cabrakan such a highly contested pick in Smite at this point.
And if you're Obey Alliance, what do you think is the best response for a Cabrakan selection?
Anything that will disrupt the tremors. You don't want to be sitting in those tremors long enough. Maybe something to be able to escape that ultimate to get away from the wall, but neither of those two gods, between the Zeus or the Medusa, have a leap available to them to be able to jump over that Cabrakan wall.
And you think that this could spell a potential devastation for the side of Obey, considering that they do have the fact that there's just no escape. If the Cabrakan catches them in the wrong place at the wrong time, that's just all over, isn't it?
Well, sometimes, you know, you could trap in people with the Cabrakan, but at the same time, you're trapping in a Zeus and a Medusa that's going to deal as much damage to you as you are doing to them. So, looking for a lot of return damage onto this Cabrakan, having to build very tanky.
And the Bellona and Vulcan already a ton of frontline presence this go-round, as well as a little bit more early game oriented as far as the gods are concerned. And I think that that'll be really pivotal as far as helping Elevate find their footing in this game.
myflin just looks like he has no care in the world right now. You know, going through his head right now is like, somewhere over the rainbow. Like, he's just relaxed.
Now everybody knows you're a good singer.
You know? I mean, you should hear me at karaoke.
I'm sure that that's quite the experience, but the worst, again, or it could potentially even be Jelly on this Xing 10. I would anticipate the Xing leaning more towards that solo lane side just because of how much presence DwurSt is able to provide on the Xing. It's a god he definitely feels comfortable on, but do you expect to see this being flex more than anything?
I mean, it's probably going to go in that solo role. We've seen Xing Chen do brilliantly in terms of transitioning into that mid game. Once you have the levels and the second relic, Xing Chen can provide that big presence of a Guardian, the buffer that you really need, and what better role to put him than into that solo lane whenever you have something else that's going to be a little bit more aggressive in the early stages, because Xing does have some mana issues, so once you have that Breastplate of Valor completed, that's when his presence is truly recognized.
And as far as jungle is concerned, now that you can see that Cabrakan, Bellona, and Vulcan are locked away for the side of Elevate, where do you see myflin leaning towards?
myflin here, he has some options. You know, Ratatoskr is available. Thor can be locked in, having some global presence. Maybe he would run a Guardian jungle as well. You know, he could run the Ymir potentially.
And it will be a Khepri locked away this time for Obey Alliance, taking that away from Kenshin, who I don't feel was able to be as much of a savior as he wanted to the last go around, just because of how much crowd control and AoE damage Obey was able to put out.
And the Rising Dawn was just not a factor at all either, not able to connect to the right targets. The damage, the AoE damage from Obey Alliance was just too much to spread out. Elevate had no response, so now this defensive option is going to go in the way of Jelly, and surprisingly enough, the roles have swapped here. Jelly is the one that's normally playing super aggressive, going for this Khepri, but now Kenshin going for the aggressive option on the Ares instead.
I do like the Khepri pickup here, though, considering that when you select the Cabrakan, you're looking for that initial burst damage. Pairing that off with the Vulcan, they're definitely looking for that wombo combo. So as long as Jelly is able to utilize his Khepri ultimate at the right time, that could spell total disaster for Elevate's game plan.
Especially if the Cabrakan is focusing out Delta Marine on the Zeus here, and just like that, myflin locking in the Squirrel God.
And myflin sure does love his Ratatoskr. I mean, there was even a skin. Well, when they were formerly Team Eager, myflin was notorious for playing Ratatoskr, and well, now he gets to select it just like the PC squad. And I know that Obey are certainly more than excited. Toli, who do you think is going to be taking it for game number 2?
I got to give it to Obey Alliance. myflin is just on a tear right now. He has a lot of momentum, and he's playing his Ratatoskr.
Well, we'll be able to find out here in game number 2 who will be taking it home. So it's got Hindu and F. standing by.
Thanks a lot, Taco and Toli. Ares and Ho Yi, the lane of choice for Elevate here for the long lane. Just a lot of aggression. I said it ad nauseum last time around. Play to your identity. Although Ho Yi is a lot more traditional than some of the other choices, the aggressive lane is still what Elevate are known to be doing and what they should be looking for.
I like a lot of Elevate's comp here. A lot of front line with Cabrakan, Bellona, and Ares there. 3 gods to soak up a lot of damage. Protections from Ares, as well as the protections Cabrakan gives from his passive as well, will allow this team to continue to fight in the front line a little bit longer. Vulcan's there for control a little bit more around the objectives a little bit more. These objective focus is what they've gone for here, Elevate. There is one issue, though.
That turret is going to help out Zeus, man.
But
ching,
not,
ching, 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 ching.
Not just the turret. There's 3 melee base pretty much. With the Guardians, the front line are all melee base and all going to be focused together. There's a lot of burst damage. If Delta Marine has a good game here, Delta Marine can carry this game on his back alone just by taking out the front line with ridiculous ultimates and chain CCs.
And I like how you said, if Delta Marine has a good game.
That's important.
I don't remember the last time Delta Marine had a bad game on Zeus. So...
But if you're playing Zeus and you're against a Cabrakan, an Ares, and a Bellona, you're not in for a happy time unless things start off very well at the beginning. So yes, Delta Marine has a lot of pressure in this game, but he also has the key to victory. Keep him alive means he can put the damage out, which means this front line won't make an impact.
Very important is the selection out of Jelly to keep his mid laner alive. Sure, he's got a little bit of peel, but you can also bring him back from the dead. So Jelly's going to be a very important part of what Delta Marine's able to do here.
Do you like the call out of Dr. L here to start Cabrakan off with the Aegis at the start of the game? Just gonna be careful of the level 1, obviously, but this Aegis will allow him to absorb a lot of damage. There's not a whole lot of CC control coming out of Obey to really stop him and shut him down, which is gonna make him go into beads. The Aegis, though, definitely worthwhile picking that to absorb some of the damage.
I'm a big fan of Aegis first against a number of gods, whether you're looking at a Ra, a Poseidon, or a Zeus. I think the Aegis can save you a lot more than the beads, especially when you're looking at, you know, where the CC is or lack thereof, like you mentioned. I really do like the Aegis selection. One more time, Dwurst goes for the hand of the gods.
But he's not actually picked up his blue buff just yet. He got pressured level 1 because of the Kenshin was over in the solo lane at the start of this game. Now they're looking to contest his blue again. Has the Wrath available, but with 3 chains connected. Kenshin there, a bit surprised that he chained him so quickly as well.
Yeah.
With an Ares, you kind of want to hesitate a little bit between attacks. There is time for you to throw an auto attack out between each chain. Don't necessarily have to go for that for maximum damage, but the continual chain that can last longer means there's more chance of damage output, and a Xing 10 can't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're at the top level of play. I kind of expect the top level of play.
Yep.
And that's kind of exactly how you maximize and milk every piece of damage out of what Ares does. And that's what he does, is deliver damage.
Dwurst on the right hand side will be fine in the lane as a Xing 10 as long as Kenshin doesn't continue to stay over here, because once no escape comes online, you've got an Eagles rally as well to try and contest against Dwurst. Yeah, he's got the escape with the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel, but it's not going to be enough to get away from both the ultimates.
Well, Dwurst will get his blue buff now that Elevate has gone away and sort of messed with their own buff, so Dwurst, looking at his own blue, should be able to clear it no problem. And now myflin dipping into this right side jungle, looking to help out his teammate as Elevate are very pushed up, and Dwurst has communicated that, but as they slink further back into the lane, the jungler and the mid laner decide to stick right where they are.
Much better position for Elevate in Game 2, though. Okay, by this point, they pretty much had already lost at least 1 death, maybe even a second, as well as we were approaching the 3-minute mark when that one happened. But the lane pressure is a little bit better for them now. With Ares starting in the solo lane, and then having the Vulcan combining with the Cabrakan in mid, it's relieved the pressure that Obe had early last game. Not only that, they do have the Vulcan, as I said, so objective control is a little bit stronger on their side during the early stages.
Absolutely, and Oboronic is going to be a very accurate source of damage in this mid lane. Oboronic is an interesting player. I think that he's one of the better mid laners, despite not really getting a lot of celebration for it.
I really think these are the best 2 mid laners on console right now. By far, yeah, by far. Delnyy and Oboronic are probably the 2 that really stand out to me. As time has gone on, they always seem to consistently put out a lot of damage for their team. Even if their team doesn't necessarily do well in the games, I never really look at those 2 and go, it was them at fault.
Right, yeah, exactly. And I think Covey has very quickly become one of these guys that enters the conversation. Covey being the mid laner for Astral Authority next to MichaelCheco finds himself already in the finals for Sunday. Obey and Elevate battling out to see who takes their talents against them tomorrow.
It's funny because when I look at Oboronic and Delta Marine, they're all about the positioning, where for me, Covey, on the other hand, he's more the aggressive playmaking style, which can come back to haunt you, but it makes you look good for the scoreline sometimes. It's just not as clean to always see you revive and put out consistent damage, because if you get off to a bad start and you're going all in every game, it's going to continue.
Now listen, don't tell aggro this, but mid laners, they need a lot of help. And for me, it's a lot.
Aggro needed so much help, that's why he stopped.
For me, it's about the people that surround these mid laners, jungle and support. The 3v3 so important right now in Smite, and honestly, historically as well. When you see who Delta Marine is surrounded by, myflin and pbnjellly, aggro is staring at me right now. Very different than what Oboronic has from DrL and Kenshin. Just a lot more veteran prowess on the side of Obey.
It's very important to have good communication in the 3v3, and the main reason is because the support and the jungle are the 2 that are rotating around the map 95% more than anybody else. The mid laner, though,
Checo
is in the center of the lane, is in the middle of the map, right? So you're going to see visitations from more people more often, more than likely the jungler and support. So that's why the synergy has to be there. Solo and Hunter, they don't have to care about each other so much until late game, because most of the time they're at opposite ends of the map and opposite ends of a team fight.
2-on-3 as DrL locks in 2 of them. myflin here, help from Oboronic as the mid laner tries to shoot his shot. Kenshin's gonna grab a couple. There's the ultimate out of Air Cougar. Jelly is gonna retreat, but myflin not as lucky. Checo fires too soon. He's too quick, and the first blood does not go.
It will now, though. myflin's going to pick that up onto DrL. The ricochet was good coming out, but it wasn't enough to get the kill. The rest of the team will secure it for him, giving it over to DrL.
Yeah, MichaelCheco just a little bit too amped up, shoots his shot before the ultimate from the Khepri falls down, saves the life, but like you said, DrL waiting there in the mid lane with the slam.
Tell you what, though, F-Dot, that fight should have gone a lot cleaner for Elevate. I think they were just a little bit too excited about the combination of abilities they had available to them there. What happened was DrL drops the walls down. They're in good position. Oboronic was late on the ultimate to follow that up. Instead, he could have held it for the no escape, which would have confirmed the damage of the Earthshaker.
Yeah.
Instead, bit of duped abilities means that more members of Obey escape. Should have been 3 kills in my eyes.
So with one team fight like that, It honestly, it depends on what kind of analyst you are, what kind of person you are. Glass half empty, glass half full. You can take a look at that team fight and go, man, they're clearly not on their business. This is going to be a rough game for Elevate despite the first blood. Or half full, you can say, listen, they saw what they did wrong. They got to fix it and improve for the next team fight.
And that's the key, is about the level of correction they have to make to continue to push on in the game. So the correction level there was everything went perfectly. We were just ever so slightly off on the timers of the ultimate.
Exactly.
If we take a little bit more patience in the next engagement and do the same sort of thing, we'll be fine. They don't realize that, then they will continue to win the fights as we saw in that last engagement, but they won't be as victorious as they could have been, which could come back to haunt them as the game goes on.
And so for me, I'm sitting here from a very positive standpoint. I think that Elevate can fix what they got wrong, because I think that they're just operating off of adrenaline right now. This is MichaelCheco's first LAN, and I don't want to drive it into the ground, but this is just a regular ranked player here at LAN, letting his adrenaline do the business.
Jelly's in trouble. He's going to come back all the way. Now, I don't think he wanted to go there. Revived as a petrify from Cougar. Hits 3. Allowing myflin to get 1, Cougar to get 1, and Dr. L, you can hold that L as you go back to base as well.
oBoronic with the layup takes down Jelly, but it's all air Cougar. 2 kills for the Medusa.
And now on the right-hand side as well, IamDwurst winning a battle against the Bellona at this stage. This is a moment where Xing 10's strong, and Xing 10's looking for the solo kill.
delnyy falls down. IamDwurst.
Oh, you have that.
Listen, man, that was a good call. You had to ruin a good call.
I mean, you just call him Dwurst.
Just wait.
Just call him Dwurst.
Just wait.
Okay.
You're gonna have some, oh, he's gonna gloss him, and I'm gonna demolish you. Just you wait.
Okay. I'll wait. One day it'll happen. Big thing there, though, is Elevate were the ones controlling the Gold Fury side. Go back to the team fight, the little skirmish we saw there, where a lot of kills were on the side of Obey. Elevate were doing the right thing. They were trying to use their pressure they had right now on the map to put pressure towards the Gold Fury side, bring Obey in and try and find a pick. Problem was, Obey knows those stories because they've been around themselves the block a couple of times and know the comp they're against. They invested a lot, didn't find anything, and Obey managed to turn it on its head and punish them heavily for it.
I like that. I like that, too. Kenshin goes ahead, lands 2 chains, and then MichaelCheco just grabs it up on top.
Hey, it looks good, but it didn't do anything. It was against a support player. It was against a Khepri who's going to get Watcher's gift and just restack back to full health. delnyy, though, is in trouble.
Yeah, it's a 2-on-1 here.
Oh, is he?
Goes aggressive, lands on top of myflin, knowing that the Rat has used all of his abilities so far. And delnyy trying to fight back in, and now Elevate shows up with some help. IamDwurst has both of his dashes on cooldown. myflin looking to come from the top. IamDwurst tosses the enemy to the other side, and that'll be safe, but oBoronic gets landed on.
I'm not sure about going in there, myflin. That's a little bit too greedy, but you do have Jelly with you to keep you alive, who holds you up for the right time. The bad news is those chains in the tower will send him back towards Jelly and get him away.
Such a smart play out of myflin. Goes right to the tower to kill himself. Gets saved by the support. Can't say the same for Delta Marine, but oh boy, myflin with the fast, quick-thinking play to dive the tower, dive from the shots of it, so that he gets revived by the Khepri. I love it.
Love the fact I was bringing up the mid laners being so good at the position and things, and both of them fall down due to bad positioning. Those engagements picked off twice now, one for each of them, just to make things a bit more equal in this game as it goes on.
Yeah, I mean, I think they call that Caster's Curse,
yeah,
right?
It happens. Yeah. I should start doing it more often. Just randomly. I think Elevate are going to win all 3 games in a row.
What, do you have money on this one?
No, but that only means I'm an Obey fanboy, right? I think Obey will win the next 2 games in a row.
I think I'm not going to touch this one with a 10-foot pole. 10 minutes on the clock, 5-3. Obey leading by about 2 kills and 2,000 or about 1,000 gold.
And that's not a lot of gold, really, at 10 minutes in. If you split that up, it's technically not... It's about 200 gold each per player on this side of Obey. So that gold is like... 4 wards, 4 potions. It's not that big, but if it continues that way, that's when it becomes half an item or even a full item.
And at this point in the game, 1/2 an item or 2/3 of an item, that's actually significant when it's your 2nd or 3rd item. All of a sudden, these fights around Gold Fury become so much more problematic because everybody's just a little bit more dangerous.
Experience, though, is the bigger talking point there, not the gold, because the experience, with the level leads they have, they hit that 2nd relic power play a little bit earlier on, which means that you can take on a whole team that don't have a relic and get up against you having 2, and the Gold Fury is a threat all the time.
I mean, that's always the case right now, and Gold Fury not the case. It's just the Oracles. So don't get too afraid. But Obey definitely have gotten the free vision, and Elevate didn't really care.
No, they didn't, because Elevate have kind of taken the foot off the gas for a second. They've lost a couple of engagements in a row now. They didn't go as comfortable as they could have potentially gone at one point in time. That now puts pressure onto them. Aircougar's a little bit far forward here.
Oh, he gets stunned out. The beads are already used, but he does have help in the sky. Kenshin's going to get the grab, even despite the ultimate. Mistimed! Put down! Kenshin! He gets the kill.
myflin, can you move? Yeah, you can. You can move back to base, that's for sure. Gets trapped in the tremors there, trying to follow in. I love Myflin's call, though. Yeah. This is twice I've seen him in these engagements use the ult to try and deter Elevate from going in, or save a teammate that's caught out of position. Don't know why Aircougar was that far forward with no wall coverage and no calls from his team. That's not the Obey I saw at the World Championships, for sure. Their calling was a lot better. They knew the position of their enemy. They get punished for that. That Vulcan ult was way early, but they got jammy.
Yeah, Elevate
jammy.
Right there, just jammy. 5-5. The kills are even. And thanks to that Gold Fury, the gold just about as well. Elevate wrestle control of the game away from Obey, now leading themselves 1,000 gold. That's a 2K gold swing.
That was nervousness from oBoronic, it felt like me with that Earthshaker. Fired a little bit too early. They didn't have the burst that they wanted to secure it whatsoever. Yeah, you're still Vulcan, but you want to use that Earthshaker as an actual full-on secure. The amount of burst damage you'll get out of that is way better than a backfire, a chain lightning, or a detonate. But if you don't do it at the right time, there's always a window for a dot damage like the likes of Khepri could come out and sneak it away from you.
Yeah, at the same time, it didn't happen.
Even though it didn't happen, you're still going to take it into account. Like,
sure,
you have to look at that and go, that was a small mistake. It's not game-changing, right? They're still going to get the Gold Fury. But if you keep making mistakes like that, one of these times you'll get punished for it.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that one. As far as Elevate's concerned, though, it only matters what happens and winds up in the gold column. Everything looks clean for Elevate. Aircougar does not want to fight Hou-Yi in that scenario. Nice turnaround. There's an ultimate.
Walls.
Cougar, he's on the ground, not the air. MichaelCheco.
Once again, keep it on the left-hand side of your map, and you'll see there's no wards down for Obey on this left-hand side other than the one near his own purple buff. So him walking that far forward to try and clear a ward in the jungle or contest, risky business when you don't know where the enemy jungler is.
Especially this composition, Hindu man. MichaelCheco on the Hou-Yi and DrL on the Cabrakan. These are the two gods that just rule the jungle. And you don't want to walk anywhere near that. And it's just bad news bears for Aircougar.
Credit where it's due, though. DrL made a lot of that happen for it. I love the Petrify out of Cougar in that engagement to avoid the Ricochet stun, but the follow-up was fantastic from the walls to keep him trapped inside the suns that rain down. In the sky, Myflin's up.
And I love the play out of Elevate, picking up the Portal Demon. Always thinking about the stuff after the stuff. Get one kill, look for the objective. That's what they're trying to do. Kenshin might be here by himself. He's going to grab a couple, pulls IamDwurst. There's the alley-oop, but he's saved thanks to the help of the Khepri. Walking away free and clear. And that's going to be 0 kills for the guys on Elevate. But they got the objective, and that's what they were looking for.
Not a ton of damage available for oBoronic yet again this game at the start. Went for a more defensive option, which makes sense. But that Earthshaker was at point-blank range, so it doesn't travel as far. And at the same time, he was doing that against Dwurst, who is a Xing 10. It's going to be naturally tanky through being a Guardian, even though he had very little in the way of magical defense.
Delta Marine going second.
DrL's played amazing. DrL is just walking around this map going, who are you? Get out! Who are you? Get out! That's all that's happening. Everywhere he is like, no, this is my house.
Yeah, DrL has been one of my... I've really enjoyed watching DrL this season. He's completely just been a powerhouse for Elevate in this jungle role. Just been exciting. That's really the key. I mean, I could break down his gameplay, but he's just fun to watch.
And that's the fun of watching a Cabrakan too, because when you see a Cabrakan running at someone, you have a feeling one of these two is going to die. Because Cabrakan's not going to get away again, A, or B, the person he's after isn't getting away in the first place.
Right. You know, as he was falling down, I started to mention the second item, Spear of Desolation. This item is very expensive, but still going to be the selection. MichaelCheco gets slowed down and help from the sky. Checo's going to be in trouble, and he's likely to fall. Aircougar off the assist from the jungler gets the credit. He's 3-2-1.
Aircougar can say, anything you guys do, we can also do. Maybe not as better, but we'll still do the same sort of thing. Checo that time, he's the one that bit off too much against Cougar, getting confident because he had the lane advantage. After Cougar falling down twice, you've got to keep an eye on the map, especially with Ratatoskr. His presence can get there from almost half the map away.
Listen, there's more than one reason why But longevity is not the only reason that Eric Cougar is one of the faces of the console league. It's because he's able to play from behind and then still come out and make plays like that and find himself above.
Now, I do want to go back to what you were saying about Delta Marine on the Zeus going for the Spear of Desolation here. We mentioned at the start of the game there's 3 frontliners that are going to be very tanky. Those 3 frontliners are also going to realize that they have to absorb all the brunt of damage. Getting Spear of Desolation is a fantastic power spike, as well as a penetration, which allows him to shred through there a little bit more. Plus, if he does manage to do well for himself, it helps out in the long run.
And here's one of the issues with building Spear of Desolation second item. It's so expensive.
Yes.
So it's going to delay your power spike. But we mentioned Boronic's build across the way. He's building very defensive. He has a helm, and it looks like he's going into an E-staff for item number 3. So Vulcan's power spike is stunted and delayed. That's what allows Delta Marine to go such an aggressive, greedy build, knowing that his opposition across the way is also delaying his own power spike.
And don't forget, it is a bit of cooldown reduction, even though you think about it for Delta Marine, but if he gets a killer assist, 1 second of his timers comes in, which means he either survives a little bit more, does a little bit more damage in these engagements, surprises Elevate once again.
I mean, think about where that passive is found elsewhere. On a Thanatos.
Yep.
That's a god that wants to waterfall through team fights. He doesn't get away. He turns and burns and hopefully kills and continues on doing it. That's what Zeus wants to do. You give him the Spear of Desolation, it just helps him out even more so.
We're at a cool point in this game, though, FDOT, because both teams will feel like they are confident enough to fight now. They're both in that situation where the teams feel strong enough to take each other on.
From the back end, Dwurst is in trouble. MichaelCheco going to join the rest of his team. Dr. L by himself. Boronik from a distance launches it. Big damage on a Jelly and Dwurst. Kenshin grabs the both of them. Big play by Ares. delnyy capitalizes. Down goes Cougar. Boronik as well, picking up Jelly. Dr. L gets his own, but trades out. It's a 3-for-1 in the direction of Elevate.
So small of a thing, but delnyy teleporting in the back, and nobody on Obey recognized it whatsoever, put him in this position. Delta Marine, though, needs to be zoned away. delny's gone to do it, which is good, and myflin's gonna die.
Here comes the ricochet. Can he find it? No, he won't. The Hou-Yi turns around and decides that there are better things for him to do.
Wise.
Picking up the Gold Fury, and that's going to launch Elevate into the lead, about 4K flat.
That whole fight came down to delny's teleportation. It may not look that way, but the fact that he walks in the back and Obey tried to exit towards delnyy, but delny's actually model body blocked him on their escape, which allowed Dr. L to collapse with the walls, and the follow-up damage was there. I still want to see Boronik hold the ult, though. Kenshin keeps getting these fantastic no escapes on 3 or 4 people, 2 or 3 of which end up getting pulled in. If they hold that Vulcan ultimate, man, that's deaths immediately.
That time Boronik had hit the exact players that were pulled, so I got no beef, but yes, you are right. That's going to happen 1 out of 5 times.
Yep.
He should wait for the CC, but you know what, Boronik? If you can freehand it like that every time, I got no beef.
To be fair, some mid laners, you just got to freehand it because you won't get that perfect moment. Most of them, some people will sit back on a raw ult all day just waiting for that perfect moment. Same thing with a Vulcan ult in those scenarios. You were looking for the perfect, hit the whole squad, steal the fire giant, get a pentakill. But sometimes just hitting one person is enough for you to win a game.
And at the end of the day, Hindu man, I would much rather shoot the shot than just hang on to it. I mean, Wayne, you know, you look at the great one, Wayne Gretzky. You miss every shot you don't take, right? If you're going to hold on to that ultimate and you hold on to it for the rotation of 2 uses, well, what coulda, shoulda, woulda happened if you shot it, right?
But how do you miss it if you don't shoot it? Because you didn't shoot it, so you can't miss it.
That's the point. The opportunity is lost.
I was just trying to troll you, and you're like, no, that's the point.
That's the point.
Okay, I'm not going to
We're serious about this.
I've noticed. I'm going to hold off on that a little bit more. I like the fact they're giving Air Cougar the red buff right now because I feel like Zeus is making an impact without it right now. Until he gets a couple more items online, then I want to see that switch away. Medusa's power spike is around now. Came in a little bit line earlier, but with a Transcendence and an Assy, now working towards what more than likely will be Chins. I like the call to give him that red for the time being.
Dwurst able to chip down the tower on the right side. That's going to be first rubble. Elevate loses their tower, despite being ahead. Now the Portal Demon is the target of choice.
Rinse repeat of game 1, really, this, but it's Elevate the ones more in control. Obey is still looking to contest, though. They feel they can still fight into this team.
Yeah, good zoning coming out from Dr. L. He's zoning him all the way back to the base. Boronik from a distance, taking down myflin. delnyy puts him right in the basket, but the damage done by the Vulcan.
Hello, team? Yeah, there's a Cabrakan in our face, tremoring us, and nobody even is stopping it. Protect your carries!
What a fantastic
Protect
play.
your carries!
6, 2, and 7 from this Cabrakan. He's #1 in player damage for his team. Oboronic gets tossed in, but guess what Elevate's doing?
Protecting the carries!
Exactly! 2 players grabbed, 2 players knocked up,
That's game.
and 2 players toasted. 1 for the support, 1 for the hunter. D aside, 15-7. Elevate out of control. Who remembers game 1?
Picks and bans will remember game 1 because picks and bans dictated game 2 as well. Cabrakan gets through, Elevate draft 3 frontliners, and it's worked out beautifully for them. The balance of burst damage for forcing Aegises, the balance of control to force out the beads is allowing even more damage to get through on the back of it. Veronic's ult at the end there was great, but it comes back to Dr. L again for me.
I mean, Dr. L just controlling almost every aspect of this game. He walks up to zone people and accidentally gets a kill.
He zoned 2 on his own and got a kill 2v1, while the rest of his team like, you all right over there? He's like, yeah, I'm not too bad. One of them's dead. And then Veronic's like, oh, one of them's dead? Let me just help you out a little bit with the others coming in.
And it's the teamwork that comes out. Dr. L corrals everybody. Oboronic shoots his shot. And then Kenshin and Checo come through to finish everybody off. Player damage still maintained by 2 players from Obey, but all of Elevate's damage is relevant and important and a part of these kills. Obey are finding poke.
They're finding good bursts of damage, but the problem is that they're not working as a unit right now, where Elevate's comp is all about the unit. That's why the damage is spread more evenly across this squad. They're all doing their own part to bring this win to the forefront. Obey, on the other hand, are having to rely on people to deal damage to try and even stay in the game.
Yeah, myflin 1, 3, and 3, not having the game he had in game #1. You know, we saw him on the camera, having some fun. Resident myflin, just chilling. Perhaps overconfidence?
Some of it may be overconfidence. I mean, to be fair, Myflin looked bored out of his mind. He won't be bored now because if he wants money this week and he wants to get that paycheck a little bit higher up for himself, then he needs to step on the gas a little bit and stop yawning on my broadcast.
For me, it's not even about the, well, knowing these guys on the side of Obey, it's not about the paycheck. And I won't call anybody out, but that's not the popular thought in Smite. A lot of guys are trying to eat. When it comes to Obey, they want to win. They want to win for the sake of winning. And this is going to make him really mad if Elevate are able to take this one the distance.
It becomes a meme for himself in fact, though, because if you're going to pretend to be sleeping and resident sleeper, well, you made the game too look like a resident sleeper by the performance that Elevate put against you.
That's going to be the 3rd Gold Fury of the game. The 3rd Gold Fury in 23.5 minutes. Elevate find themselves 9,500 gold in the lead.
It's one of the ways that Elevate have done well in this game, though, with the turret as well. Just that turret that they picked up, obviously with Vulcan at the start of the game, I said there was going to be objective focus, and it was from minute 1. But Dr. L on the Cabrakan made such an impact, they can't give them that again at all. They can't give them the Cabrakan again.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's way too much control over here. Dr. L just able to really handle it.
There's 3 bans, right, that we saw last weekend at the Gauntlet, and this weekend we should be seeing the same. Skadi, Cabrakan, Susano.
Yeah.
They are the 3 that have to be taken out. And what I like what Elevate did here, though, if you notice that they didn't ban any of those 3 because they knew they would get one for themselves by leaving it available. This time round, Obey said, you know what, I think Cabrakan's the worst of those 3 evils. Bad news is Dr. L knows how to play it.
Yeah. Elevate here right side. Looking for the push. Obey can't be happy about this one. Let's listen to Elevate as they make their right lane siege.
Keep in tower.
Where's that?
Let's go mid.
He's
Go
going
mid.
mid.
Go mid.
Guys, playing amazing right now.
Alright, come on, keep
Alright, all we have enough time to do with Fire Giant is this tower.
No,
We should
left
not
tower,
go
get
for
left
the
tower.
left.
No, I think we should. We have fire for 40.
Yeah. I think
Alright, this is
They're
If
not
they defend
good.
us, I'll blink. If they defend us, I'll blink past them. If they try to defend us.
Can we
I'll
fight
go
him?
cover too.
Yeah,
I want to ult, I want to ult.
I can't
I'm
blink now. I
ulting.
can't blink. Okay, okay, okay.
Back up, back up, back up,
Back up tower.
That's all they're split down. That's all they're
Tower,
I got
get left, get
Medusa.
left.
We can push this. I think we can push this. Okay, okay. That's
No, 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 we're
I
playing
don't know.
it
I
slow.
was saying that because they used a lot of ults.
Tower the portal. Tower the
Yeah.
portal. Tower the portal. What?
I got Medusa beads.
Okay,
Okay.
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 I'll try to blink on her then. I'll blink on her.
Elevate right here showing extreme discipline for a team not really known for their discipline. Historically, some of these guys can be kind of wild on the ranch, but right here, I love it. Tower, 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 tower.
It's smart play, really, F-Dot. This is the thing that you can get a little bit of a nosebleed when you get a lead in these games. You're like, we're going to win this game. And then you overstep your boundaries just a little bit too much. Play it safe, play it relaxed, get an established lead. But don't leave up opportunities like that Portal Demon that we just saw that Obey were very smart to take.
Well, that was their game plan. You heard Elevate say tower and then Portal. Unfortunately, Portal not there for them any longer. But Elevate right here, that listening, we're watching Elevate right before your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Elevate go from a above average team to one of the really better squads. It's that discipline, it's that understanding of the bigger picture that really takes it down. You heard somebody, I want to ult, I want to ult. Wait for it, wait for it. We're going to play this slow. And then they go in and they create the situation that allows them to take that mid lane tower. But that chill, wait, we're going to play it slow, that's the mark of a very established team.
Which means now they're going to wait for the next Fire Giant before they start the siege on to the Phoenixes this time around. Obey just needs to fall back and wait for the right opportunity. And hope that they can either contest the fire or put on a very good defense of the Phoenix.
Yeah.
We've seen it before where teams have had a Fire Giant but are able to still hold against that team.
And Obey's one of the teams that are going to be able to do it because of this, not just because, hey man, they're the defending world champs, but because of the selection of their draft.
Yep.
Zeus, Ultimate, and Ratatoskr are going to be able to really defend underneath a Phoenix versus the Fire Giant. And speaking of that Ratatoskr, as Elevate starts up this Fire Giant, I have to retract what I said before. myflin, not feeling too well. He's a little sick right now, which is why we see the body language we do.
Well, the best thing about his actual body language now shows me that I know he's never going to be sad. He's only ever going to be sick. If I ever see him sad again, he's just sick. Meanwhile, guess what Dr. L's doing again?
Take it on 1v3.
Bye,
Now
Cougar.
from the mid lane.
Bye, Cougar.
Knocked down. Oboronic from downtown. 16 on the board for Elevate.
There was nothing Cougar could do there. He played it
boy.
well, and he backstepped straight into the Vulcan ultimate. He thought it was safe, and it wasn't.
Oh my goodness, what a wonderful alley-oop on the guys from Elevate. The two-man combo, the knock-up into the inevitable death from the mid lane Oboronic. Fantastic play. That ultimate puts Vulcan on top of the player damage. Elevate now looking at the mid lane Phoenix. This one going down without a fight.
Not sure if they're going to get the Titan right now. I agree with the decision to go for the right-hand side Phoenix. You are still against the Zeus, a Ratatoskr, and a Xing. Granted, they don't have ultimates, but neither do you.
Exactly, and listening to Elevate before, they want to play this one slow and clean. This is a best of 5. You want to get the guaranteed win right now. As long as they just do the motions,
And
nothing fancy, they win it.
This game guarantees we'll have 4 games in this set at the least as well, just because it resets the record again.
Yep.
And a best of 5, if Elevate win this, becomes a best of 3.
Exactly, and mentally, that's so important for these teams. Winning game 2 is one of the most important games in a best of 5 series.
Definitely.
If you're able to get the 2-0 lead, all of a sudden it's one game till you're gone. Whereas, it's, like you said, it's a reset for the defending team.
And one of the reasons it's so important to win the game 2 is the momentum swing that it brings you. If you are the team that took game 1 and you get game 2 as well, you have so much momentum behind you, you're only going to get 1 game out of 3 remaining. It's got the momentum for you. Whereas the team that is trying to equal the record like Elevate is now, the momentum goes in your favor, which generally spells that game 3, you have the momentum going into that, which then gives you the lead.
And this is exactly what I said, Graham, is that as long as Elevate just continue doing it. They need to do nothing fancy, nothing crazy, just, hey, there's a gold sphere, let's pick it up. Hey, there's a tower. Wait, there isn't. There's only Phoenixes. Let's group up. Let's look for a Phoenix. Just play the game as it comes to you. Nothing out of the ordinary, and Elevate are poised to take the win.
Guarantee Obey will be first pick next game. I can already feel it coming. They're going to get the option. Whoever loses gets the option of who gets first pick or second pick. Obey have to take first pick because they can't leave this to happen again. The Cabrakan was too impactful in this game. It may not look like it in terms of player damage. It does to me as it being third from a jungle point of view. But he's made so many plays in this game that allowed his team to make things happen elsewhere.
Kenshin on the Ares as well has just been out of control.
Silent little assassin Kenshin has been. Holding the no escape till later on in the team fights is something that's very tricky to do in an Ares because you're always so tempted to go in.
Blink forward coming out from Dr. L. He's going to unleash the ultimate, locking 2 players in. There's Kenshin nice and early with an ultimate of his own. 3 chains on Jelly. He's half HP. But really, it's about the target. Left side Phoenix, toast.
They get it, but they took a lot more damage than they should have. Checo was getting body blocked by minions trying to attack the Phoenix. The Phoenix could have fallen a lot earlier. oBoronic looking to clean up Cougar. Won't happen this time, but the Tian may be a different story.
There's an ultimate out of Delta Marine. Nice spot to put it in. Really kind of messes up what Elevate's trying to do here. Separating the team from their own teammates. Gonna have to take the long way around is oBoronic. Very safe in the back line. 2-3 Phoenixes down. Elevate just waiting for their opportunity.
They've got to wait a little bit longer here, Elevate. I want to see them regen with a Fire Giant by just hanging around outside the base. There's fire minions from every single lane right now, just slowly pushing in. They could be patient, but if they do things like that, where they're grouped up right behind that wall, it allows oBe to have a defensive position and continue to put pressure on, which means they won't regen.
Which is why I like the full retreat. Just, listen, man, we're in a bad spot. Just leave. There's no reason to stick around. If you might be able to get the surprise window if the wave makes it in, but by going home, picking up the portal demon, and coming back another day, you're able to reset your mind, get the adrenaline out, and take a more calm approach.
And not only that, the Fire Giant was falling off too for them, so I agree with the decision to wisely just call it a day there. I understand why they kind of hang around a little bit longer now, just because they were trying to make sure they can end with the Fire Giant, but not this time. Elevate definitely have put themselves in a very comfortable position. oBe, though, they have a small window yet again, which is the fact that 2 Phoenixes are about to respawn.
31:45 on the clock. Elevate leading this one 17-7 and by almost 20,000 gold. This one, for all intents and purposes, is Elevate's to win. oBe have to really hope that their opposition makes a mistake. And, you know, that sounds a little bit more dismal than it needs to be. Elevate are in a position where they absolutely can make a mistake. This late in the game, one team fight will reset and tie the game.
And they need a reset right now with how this has looked. Elevate are looking very strong in this game too. Fire Giant's going to go down. You can see the Phoenixes have respawned for oBe. But all oBe can really do is just defend the fire minions coming in, make sure they don't have to fight fire minions as well as Elevate. But Dwurst is in a little bit of trouble here. Luckily enough, Kenshin didn't have blink, but hang on a second, DoctorL did.
Dwurst, nice sidestep by DoctorL to avoid the nonsense that is Dwurst's ultimate. Here comes an ult out of Air Cougar. He gets stepped on by the solo lane, able to dash away to safety. Now Kenshin up top looking for the pull. Does he get it? Grabs 2 players, and they're gonna get toasted. MichaelCheco. delnyy gets one for himself as well. Right side Phoenix down for the count, and everybody flowing into the Titan room.
And we go to a game 3 now. Elevate put this one to bed nicely for themselves. Good performances from the whole squad as a whole, but you have to look at DoctorL and go, Cabrakan was the real problem
Absolutely.
in that set.
I mean, this is the kind of match that I like, Hindu, because when it comes down to it, sometimes you wind up setting yourself up for a 3-1 situation because, hey, man, you won off of some cheese pick, you won off of an oddball. This was a straight-up win above oBe for Elevate. They simply were the better team in game number 2.
They played around with their advantages, which was decent AoE team fights as a group, whereas oBe had a little bit more of a composition of try and find a pick early on, try and catch them out of position a little bit, and then rely on team fight pressure from the backside of the Zeus.
Yeah, myflin being sick there, unfortunately, really hurts the team on the battlefield, but also I have to think about the intangible. myflin is such a point of energy for this team, whether he's yelling and screaming, just calling shots, or just having a presence. That's a really big deal. The mental aspect of this game is absolutely important. And with myflin kind of under the weather, so his energy level comes down. Got to start thinking about how that's going to affect the team at large.
They still, though, oBe is still going to run with him because they want to keep him on this squad. They do have a chance to substitute somebody if they want to, but the problem is that I feel this squad wants to really focus with the fact that having myflin on the squad is enough of a boost for them that he's going to still be better than a sub.
Yeah, exactly. I think myflin's still the optimal choice. How he's going to work through this one, I don't know. We'll see as the series continues on. Let's toss it to the desk for some more analysis.
A little bit unfortunate that he is feeling under the weather, and now it's actually very fortunate, however, for Elevate finding that win to answer back to the initial loss to oBe Alliance.
And this is a best-of-5 set. That game 1 doesn't matter with Elevate winning game number 2. It's so important for them to be able to bounce back mentally as Elevate taking that Cabrakan. They did a great tactic where they banned away the Awilish and the Odin, and they left the Susanoo and the Cabrakan open, so that means they're guaranteed at least one of those picks.
oBe had had to choose the lesser of two evils to try and ban away, and of course, leaving open the Cabrakan, and Dr. L certainly knew what he was doing on this god.
Absolutely. We saw what he was able to do on this Cabrakan, just making his presence known in all of these team fights, and this was the deicide play where Dr. L was the initiating factor for his team.
Just completely zoning away, not one, not two, but 3+ people nearly every single team fight. Dr. L was just such a devastating force and completely demolishing the likes of Eric Cougar and other Obey members.
Even taunting there at the end after the hot triple kill. Just so much presence from Dr. L, and the rest of his teammates were really able to capitalize and clean up with that hot deicide play.
And a lot of this can be attributed to the fact that Elevate were just so aware of where their carries were on the map, consistently protecting their backline to ensure that they were able to get off as much damage as possible.
Not able to protect the backline, Obey Alliance were the victims of multiple pulls from Kenshin on this aggressive Ares. Just so impactful during that Gold Fury fight specifically is where things really look dicey for Obey.
Kenshin had a beautiful pull falling around that 17.5-minute mark. It was right around there where we saw the team fight really unfold, and he managed to get in the 3-man ultimate. And when you pull in 3 people as an Ares, sure, there might be a Khepri res going off on one of them, but you can't possibly protect your entire team, and that's ultimately what spelled out the snowball for Elevate.
And not only that, whenever you do find those multiple pulls, you're going to be able to try to use your ultimate as Khepri, but the question is it going to overlap on the wrong target as well? So it's very difficult if you're on the other side, Jelly having a more difficult time than Kenshin.
The mindset behind Obey's draft was solid. I think that both of these drafts were very even in a direct matchup. It's just like you mentioned during the game, it really just boiled down to who had the better team fight and who had the advantage, and it looked like Elevate just managed to find the upper hand every time.
Absolutely, and delnyy also did a pretty good job in the last game. He was making his impact known. You know, the Cabrakan initiation was really solid there, but also on the Bellona, his comfort Bellona pick.
You could tell that he felt more than confident on that Bellona this time around, also assisting Dr. L with the zoning factor, really permitting Elevate to just secure so many objectives in team fights.
Able to really follow up off of a lot of these engages. The two frontliners between both Dr. L and delnyy have really made their presence known in this game number 2 of this important best-of-5 set. So now, with the series tied at 1-1, it's up to Obey Alliance to figure out what they want to do between first pick or second pick, and how they want to reorganize some of their picks and bans ideas.
Do you feel as though Elevate are in the advantage, though, at this point, because of the fact that they have the 1-1 lead, but they just won the last game?
Oh, absolutely. Whoever won last has the momentum in the next game. So whatever Obey did in game number 1, they weren't all smile, giggles, and laughing in that last game. They have to figure out the next course of action for this very important game 3.
And it all just falls back to the original standing point where you can never count a team out or any set to be an easy victory. As we've seen with Obey, they're definitely not trying to undermine any part of Elevate. This is a team that has more than shown that they have come to play at land.
And something we haven't seen out of Obey Alliance is IamDwurst playing these aggressive gods necessarily in the early laning phase. He's been playing the Xin Chen so far in both of the games, but I'm kind of expecting an Osiris potentially, maybe even, you know, he hasn't pulled out the Raven in a hot minute, but you never know. That's always in his back pocket.
But IamDwurst has always favored more a setup possibility alongside of his team. He prefers to be the guy that's able to be the frontline presence for his squad. He knows that he can rely on Delta Marine, on Air Cougar, and even myflin at times to get their damage off and secure the kills. As long as he's there to prevent his carries from dying,